This is the Life by Design with Angela Weiss podcast, episode 28, Tuesday edition, When Attachment Styles Collide, Why It Feels So Intense and So Confusing. Have you ever been in a relationship that felt really intense, really meaningful, and really confusing at the same time? Where one moment you feel close and the next moment something shifts, and you're left trying to figure out what just happened. Where you're trying to move closer and the other person seems to always be pulling away. Or maybe you're the one pulling away when things start to feel too close. And no matter how much you try to understand it or fix it or talk through it, you keep ending up in the same pattern. If that sounds familiar, this episode is going to help you make sense of it. Welcome back to the Life by Design with Angela Weiss podcast. I'm Angela Weiss, a nurse practitioner, author, and someone who helps people understand themselves, their relationships, and the patterns that keep repeating over and over. Before we begin, take a breath with me. Inhale slowly and exhale. Wherever you are right now, just pause for a moment. And I have to always say this when I remember. This is not a polished podcast. The dogs are probably going to bark, but not today because they're not here. The cats might wander in. She's sitting right next to me. I might stumble over my words or stop to take a drink of water out of my fancy pink goblet. And I want this place to feel like a space you can show up just as you are. Because, well, that's how I do it. Over the last several episodes, we've talked about anxious, avoidant, fearful, and secure attachment. And today we're bringing it all together because understanding your attachment style is one thing, but understanding what happens between two people is where things really start to make sense. The most common dynamic and one of the most, common dynamics, what I just say, is the anxious and avoidant attachment styles. It looks like one person moves closer while the other person pulls away. The more one reaches, the more the other one distances. And the more the other distances, the more the first one reaches. Sound familiar? Both people feel frustrated, misunderstood, and emotionally exhausted. Let's make this practical. This might look like you send a text and they don't respond for hours. You start wondering, did I say something wrong? You send another message to check in. On the other side, they see multiple messages. They feel overwhelmed. They think, I need space, and they pull back even more. Or you have a really deep connected night together. You feel closer than ever. And the next day, they're distant, short, unavailable, and you're left thinking, what in the world changed? But for them, nothing changed. Their nervous system just hit a limit. This is not about one person being right and the other person being wrong. This is about two nervous systems trying to feel safe in opposite ways. The anxious nervous system is wired for scanning for disconnection, distance, inconsistency, patterns. So when it senses distance, it moves toward connection. The avoidant nervous system is wired to scan for pressure, dependence, loss of autonomy. So when it senses closeness, it moves away to regulate. Both are trying to feel safe. They're just using opposite strategies to do so. So the anxious person often feels, I just want closeness. I need reassurance. Why are they pulling away? Why can't they just communicate with me? Underneath that is often the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being enough, and the fear of being left. The avoidant person often feels, this is too much, I need space, I feel overwhelmed, and I can't meet these expectations. And underneath that is often a fear of losing themselves, a fear of being controlled, and a fear of emotional overwhelm. Both people are reacting to fear. So this is the misinterpretation. The anxious person interprets distance as rejection, loss, and disconnection, so they move closer. The avoidant person interprets closeness as pressure, loss of independence, and emotional overload, so they move away. And neither person realizes they are triggering the other person. Now let's talk about fearful attachment, because this can exist within one person. They can be fearful avoidant or fearful and anxious, wanting closeness and then pulling away, opening up and then shutting down, feeling connected and then suddenly questioning everything. So relationships can feel intense, unstable, confusing, unpredictable, and the person themselves often thinks, I don't even understand why I do this. This dynamic often feels deep, emotional, hard to walk away from, because the nervous system is activated. And here's something important. Activation can feel like connection. The highs feel so good. The reconnection feels powerful, but the distance is so painful. And that cycle, closeness, distance, reconnection, can become addictive. But intensity is not the same thing as security. This often looks like connection, distance, reconnection, confusion, or pursue, withdraw, pursue harder, withdraw harder, or even I'm done, wait, come back, okay, let's try again, repeat. And people stay because those moments of connection feel so meaningful. People don't stay because they're weak. They stay because it feels familiar, it feels meaningful, and believe it can work. They've seen glimpses of what it could be, and those glimpses keep them hoping, staying, and coming back. This is not about one person being the problem. This is about a pattern between two people. And patterns do not change unless something shifts. What helps is not trying harder, over-explaining, or forcing change. What helps is awareness, slowing down your reactions, and learning to regulate before responding. For the anxious side, instead of reaching immediately, sending multiple texts, seeking reassurance right away. Practice pausing, grounding, and waiting before reacting. Asking, am I responding to what's happening, or what am I afraid of? For the avoidant side, instead of withdrawing, shutting down, avoiding conversation, practice staying present, communicating early, saying, I need a little space, but I'm not leaving you. That one sentence alone can change everything. For fearful, practice slowing down, naming what you feel, building tolerance for steady connection, and learning that safe doesn't always feel exciting at first. And for all, move toward consistency, clarity, and emotional safety. If you're listening to this and thinking this is exactly what I've been experiencing, I've created an attachment workbook to go along with this series. It helps you identify your patterns, understand your role in them, and begin shifting how you respond. If you'd like a copy, you can email me at angela@lifebydesignpress.org and put attachment workbook in the subject line, and I'll send it to you. I've had a lot of really great feedback on this. Just because something feels intense does not mean it is secure. And just because a pattern feels familiar does not mean it is healthy. You are allowed to have connection that feels steady, clear, consistent, and safe. In upcoming episodes, we'll talk about how to become more secure and how to repair these relationships. You can connect with me at my website and blog, which I'll put in the show notes, at Instagram, Angela Weiss Author, Facebook at Life by Design Press, LinkedIn, Angela Weiss. You can also find all of my books on Amazon, including Anxious Attachment, Avoidant Attachment, Fearful Attachment, Secure Attachment, When Attachment Styles Collide, and many more. This podcast is intended for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical or mental health care. And listening does not establish a provider relationship with me. If you're in a crisis in the United States, you can call 911 or 988, the National Suicide Crisis Hotline. I want to thank you for being present today, because I know it's not always easy to listen to this stuff, especially when you're hearing what might be you in the middle of it and thinking, maybe there's something wrong with me. But attachment styles are learned in early childhood, and they can be changed. You can change them to become more secure. Listen, I am going to be really honest here. I suffer from the anxious attachment. I'm the one that would always overtext way too much because I didn't understand what was happening on the other side. It's very freeing to understand that now. To be able to sit in the silence and think about things before saying something over and over again. I'd like to help you feel that way too. Now, from a personal perspective, I do not understand how the mind of an avoidant works. From a professional perspective, having worked with lots of people, knowing people in my personal life who are like this, I can tell you I get it. But as for me, I've never been the avoidant. I face things head on and always have. But it's very different being in the middle of it and being on the sidelines of it. I have more books about attachment styles that will be coming in the future, and I can't wait to share those with you too. So for now, take from this what's helpful to you and use that. And if it's not helpful to you, that's fine too. Just leave it behind. Nothing's going to work perfectly for everyone. If this episode helped you, or you think you know someone that it might help, please like, share, follow, leave comments to help the algorithm so that more people can hear, so that we can share this, so that, people are healed from these issues that they carry. Anyway, thank you again so much for being here. Thursday is more on Permission to Stand Down, and Sunday is more of the faith episode. Have a wonderful day.